All right, I think we're going to get started. Thank you everyone for joining us on Pipefy's demo day. My name is Ernesto and I'll be taking you guys through the main slides for today. Now we are going to have a Q&A at the very end, and I'll show you the agenda here quickly, but we'll do some quick introductions. Like I mentioned, my name is Ernesto. I'm a strategic account executive here at Pipefy. I'll be going over the slides with everyone today. And then I'm going to pass it over to my colleague, Joe, who's one of our growth managers here. He'll be conducting the product demonstration. So here's our quick agenda. What is Pipefy? We're going to go over a quick description of what that is, some of the common problems we see, how it actually works, as well as then finally go into our Pipefy demo. And then of course, some questions and answers right at the end. So what is Pipefy? Pipefy is essentially a no-code process orchestration platform. Now, orchestration helps you connect different teams within your organization. It helps you connect different processes as well as connecting different tools within your tech stack. So we want to make sure that we're giving everyone the ability to connect all of their different teams, processes, and finally, even like their tools within their current organization. So the no-code part actually speaks to it being easier to use as well as easier to set up. We want this to be simple for people to set up these processes and connect your organization. So some of the common problems we see, right? There's still a lot of manual steps within processes. There may be some automation within certain departments and certain tools, but how are those automations connected to other teams? Is there a manual step that fits in between a lot of those different processes? Can we automate that manual step? So what that does is create a bunch of errors. A lot of times, of course, those manual steps become incomplete. It's frustrating for a lot of the employees, kind of slowing down productivity. How do we speed up productivity by automating a lot of this? A few more problems specifically for the kind of HR use case within recruiting, onboarding, requests, and offboarding. Within recruiting, how do we speed up this process, right? If we're hiring a bunch of people and need to do it quickly, how do we automate this? How do we make it easier for job openings, easier for approvals to happen for specific job openings, budget checks, those sort of things? Employee onboarding, how do we make it a smooth transition for people to onboard, and once we hire them, to make sure that they get all the resources they need, and to inform the correct teams and parties that need to assist them in that information, like different HR information. Maybe IT needs to send them some specific tools that they need. And then HR requests. How are we filtering these requests coming in? How do we know who to send to and what to send to? We want to make sure we're completing all of those steps during those request processes, and then nothing falls between the cracks. And of course, offboarding, right? We want to make sure we're automated as much as we can with the offboarding piece of this to keep it as smooth as the transition goes from them leaving our company, right? So what paperwork do we need to send them? What signatures do we need to have to make sure all of those stay aligned and it's easy for us to do that process? Now, how does Pipefy get all of this done? Well, we allow whether the information is triggered or starts from any different system, like the CRM system, HRS system, any of the unstructured sources, like an email, even as far as even a text message. How does Pipefy pull that information from those systems? What we do is we take that information, we apply automation rules, we apply approval flows, we make sure we're managing SLAs within that information in those data processes. And then we essentially allow your business processes to also communicate with that information. So if you need to send a DocuSign, if something does finally get signed, where do we store that information, right? Maybe we need to automatically send it to a Google Drive. How are we communicating with our team at the same time by sending maybe a Slack message or through Teams? So allowing your business processes to work with kind of your main systems, and Pipefy allows you to kind of orchestrate all of that. We allow you to manage all of those different steps and customize that process that works for you, essentially. And then finally being able to, report on all of that information, create some dashboards. Of course, having all of the 500 plus integrations is another powerful way that Pipefy allows you to do all of this. So we want to make sure you have that historical information. We want to make sure you can centralize the control of all your processes. If something ever needs to change in a specific step, or an email needs to be sent, or some information or process changes, as we all know that happens all the time, we want to make that change simple for you. Pipefy allows you to control and orchestrate all of those different steps. Now, who do we do this for already? Over 3,000 companies use Pipefy to manage all of their processes between their teams. Now, I think this is also an interesting fact. We are a global company currently, over 150 countries. And a lot of people don't think about that, but there's only 195 countries in the world. So Pipefy is a global company with over 3,000 people already using us. Now to the demo. So I'll introduce Joe Hamm, who will be doing the main portion of the demonstration. And Joe, you can take it over.
Perfect. Well, thank you everyone for jumping on today. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. Ernest, if you just want to confirm, you can see it.
Confirmed.
Perfect. Well, again, thanks everyone for jumping on. What we thought we'd walk through today is an HR use case, and we're going to really specifically focus on a job description or a job posting request. So how do we get, when I, as a sales manager, want to post a new position, how do we get from that being in my head to published on our website? And one way that I thought would be a great way to start is actually from our careers page. First of all, we are hiring. So if anyone is looking, feel free to reach out to us. I think second, I want to know why Ernesto and I are not listed on this page. But as I scroll down, you'll see that we actually have our job postings right here. And the reason I bring this up is because it actually links out to one of our portals. Now, a portal is just one of the many ways inside of Pipefy and outside of Pipefy that we can actually take work in. So like Ernesto mentioned, Pipefy is really built on these three main pillars. So first, how do we get work into our system? So oftentimes for us, that's through a request form. Right here, these are all just lists of request forms that can essentially be an intranet because we can list so much different content on here, even search our databases, things like that. We can also integrate with your other solutions. So if Workday is your kind of place of truth, or maybe we use something like Greenhouse or Bamboo HR, Jazz HR, anything like that, work can start over there, or even through an external database, a mobile app, or anything along those lines. Now, these are all live on our site, but what I thought we'd do is start with just how do we get content from here into there. So this is going to be one of our request forms. These are going to be very customizable. So you can put your own logo, descriptions, a ton of different types of ways that we can actually take work in. And you'll see that we have a lot of different types of custom fields that we can leverage here. So first, I'm going to put my name. We have optional fields like my email that I'm listing out right here. These can also be members, so you can just go ahead and tag your name. Right down here, this is going to be a link to one of my databases. So if this is a job that we've already posted before, maybe I already have the description, the salary, all of this stuff, so I don't want to reinvent the wheel. But if it's something that's brand new as we're scaling, I can also create a new job post, put the title, the department, the manager, and items like that. Now, for now, I'm just going to select something defaulted out of our database. So let's say our account manager. And last but not least, I'm just going to select what's our recruitment type. So is this a new position? If so, it's going to dynamically ask me, why do we need this? So we're scaling and we're looking to hire a few more people. Or maybe we need to replace someone that's leaving. So saying, hey, Ernesto is actually leaving us. We need to be able to replace them. So we'll do need more people. Now, as soon as I hit submit, a few things are going to start happening on the back end. So the first thing is, because I submitted this as an external party, so I was not inside of Pipefy, I'm going to go ahead and receive this job request tracker. So anytime someone's not a member of Pipefy but needs to initiate work, they can fill that out and track the requests right here. So here's all the content that I just filled out. You can also access this request, and I can come here throughout the entire process to see where are things and how is everything going. So if I jump into this demo company, I can jump in here. Here's all of my content. And if I forgot something, I can jump in here and say, hey, I forgot to mention that we actually need to hire 3 new account managers and update the internal party, someone on our HR team. So a great way to communicate back and forth. Now, the other thing that's happened there is it went ahead and actually kicked off a new process inside of what we call a pipe. So a pipe is really just a process. So we want to take work from our inbox all the way to posting on our website. So right here, you'll see that our task is actually landed in this account manager position. It has all that information we filled out on that left-hand panel. And throughout our different phases, it's going to have what we like to call just-in-time information. So over here, during our inbox phase, we want to make sure we have the correct job title, the description, and maybe assign an analyst to ensure that we have all of the correct information. This could be automated, so we're going to assign this to Ernesto, but maybe if this is over a certain salary or a certain position, we want a different analyst responsible. That can all be automated. Now, you'll see that all of this was actually already pre-populated, and that's because I have all this information inside of our database. So because I selected account manager, has our description, our salary, our website tags, so we can go ahead and search tags later on, and so on and so forth, even down to saying, what's our deadline? So it gave us 7 days to complete this task. So really flexible when we start automating work, especially if it's repeatable processes. Now, I think everything looks good here. So I'm going to go ahead and push this out for approval so we get this published and actually into the next process. Now, if I'm inside of Pipefy, I can absolutely just jump into that card right there. But if I'm actually an external party who maybe not be in Pipefy all the time, I can jump back into my email. And I'll receive an email from our HR team, hr@pipefy.com, just saying, hey, Ernesto, we're ready for your approval on this new job posting. Here's some quick details. These are all pulling dynamically. And again, this is all automated. So I didn't have to push anything. It just sent this email based off of the information we have. And this can be really customizable. We can use HTTP to really format this and make it look as good as we'd like to. But what's nice is now I can just jump in here because everything looks good. And I can go ahead and give this an approval or a rejection. And we can put as much information on this as we'd like. If we wanted to give all the details here, we absolutely could. If I hit no, it's going to ask those follow-up questions of why are we not moving forward? And we'll follow through with yes right now and just hit submit. You'll see it doesn't ask any follow-up questions there. Now, what happens is you'll see this automatically moved into our approved positions column. If I hit reject, it would have automatically moved over to our rejected positions column. And if I jump in here, you'll see, all right, here's our analyst still, start of our job disclosure, disclosure deadline, everything looks good right here. So I'm going to go ahead and publish this to our website. So our analyst is saying, let's actually publish this to that Pipefy website. Now, as this is in our positions currently open, you'll see I also have a couple of different tags here. So is this a low, medium, high priority? And these can have different issues attached to them. So if it's a low priority, maybe we leave this open for 3 weeks. But if it's a high priority, maybe we automatically make a post to LinkedIn. So we can do a lot of things with SLAs and automations based on these types of things. Now, if I go into my Pipefy job board right here, give that a refresh, you'll see that it actually already posted into my job board. Of course, I'm not going to really post onto our Pipefy Career Center, but you'll see it posted right here. It brought over the tags of salary, account manager, Pipefy. So then we can come in here and maybe search that later on. And at the end of this process, when it hits that deadline in 7 days, it would automatically move itself over to disclosure completed. and take that off of our website. So what we've done here is we decided to intake work in through one of our request forms. We processed it through here with a lot of automations and guardrails. So it automatically loops in people at the correct time, provides them with the correct information, and tries to not really overwhelm them. And then at the end, we want to decide what we want to do. So do we just want to look at some dashboards or reports? Do we need to now connect this into Bamboo HR to set up all of our interviews? Do we want to put this to Greenhouse or HRIS systems like Workday, SAP, and so on and so forth there? So we can really live and die here or move on. And what I'll show you is a couple of things that I built out. So the first one will just be a dashboard here, really simple. I want to look at, all right, what's the breakdown of our job priorities? Looks like it's mostly in the medium phase. What's our percent to goal? So looks like we've allocated $245,000 this year, and we only have $300,000 to spend. And just to showcase a couple of the different types of items that we can do, like maybe having a calendar or who's responsible and so on and so forth there. If we want to be a little bit more granular, we can also pull reports. So you'll see I have all of my reports for manager positions that we have out and available, replacement positions, who are we going to backfill. We can always jump in here, take a look, go ahead and filter down to get the correct information. And all of the fields across the entire pipe or process there are available for us to look at. We can always send us out in an email, publish to Tableau, and go on from there. So that's really the entire process that we wanted to work through today, is just how do we intake work, process, and output that work. And just a reminder that this is all very customizable. So in each of these sections, as well as our forms, we can add a ton of different types of questions and databases, about 20 different fields we can work with. And then we layer on some of those databases, automations, reports, and items like that. And if anyone has follow-up questions, want to dive into any of these features, please let us know. We're always happy to set some follow-up demonstrations and walk you through those and get a little bit more granular on our questions. Perfect. Great. So I'll pass it back over to Ernesto here.
Thank you, Joe. So we do have one question to start with. The question was, what does the functionality that Pipefy has that is not available within Trello? And I'll answer a little piece of that, and Joe, feel free to chime in. I think the ability to have approvals and communication outside of Pipefy, meaning they don't necessarily have to have a Pipefy license to be an approver. They don't have to necessarily have a license if they want to communicate back and forth with the requests that they've submitted. So making sure that no matter what, we're keeping everyone connected, and they don't even necessarily need to have a Trello license. And if there's anything to add, Joe, let me know.
Yeah, absolutely. And a little background, Ernesto and myself have actually been in the task management and project management industry for about 5 years now, each working at, I think, every company you can think of in this industry because we love it so much. And we were really excited about Pipefy because there's a lot of solutions that do these simple task management and even project management, but a lot of them don't focus on process management. So defining clear outlines and steps, syncing to our internal databases, performing a lot of automations. That's probably one of the biggest things. So all of those fields that I auto-populated, made calculations on, did these things, that was all done without any human error. So I think the biggest differentiation is how do we take people out of it and let process run as much as possible. And like we mentioned, we've been in this industry for quite a while. So if you'd like to discuss kind of pros, cons, all that type of thing and see what's right for you, let us know. And we're always happy to jump on a call as well. And yes, we are recording this, so we can distribute that as well.
Looks like Paul has another question. Oh.
Perfect. Now you can jump on that as well. So the nice thing about Pipefy is we take a very hands-on approach. So we don't just say, thanks for signing up, good luck. We really like to walk you through, and we do have full implementations that we do set you up with. So after you say, hey, you know what, seems like Pipefy is a great fit, we'd like to build this out. You automatically get someone like myself, the account manager, a customer success manager for more of those technical questions, as well as an implementations team. So with that implementations team, we have our implementations manager, who's like a project manager overseeing this to make sure that we get everything done in a really quick and robust way to make sure it's built out and gets you to first value as soon as possible, as well as a solutions designer. So we do provide you with some documentation to help build out kind of that process outside of Pipefy that helps us then translate it into it. So I think we actually have a really robust workflow to get you on board. Of course, some difficulties with any solution are oftentimes adoption and change management. So that's something we love to focus on as well, is how do we get everyone to adopt this solution so you actually do get the most value out of it.
Great. And so I think this might be a good moment because one of the questions is about actually us creating a demo for you guys, a more personalized demonstration. So we're going to initiate the poll. Thank you, Joe. If you'd like to have a customized demo of Pipefy that talks more about your specific process, feel free to fill out that information, and it should allow you to receive a request as well. And I'm going to go ahead and actually add our emails in the chat if there's any missed information, so you have the ability to contact us directly if necessary.
And if we have any other questions, feel free to throw them in the chat as well. And if you prefer, like Ernesto says, please feel free to reach out to us and we'll be able to answer your questions or connect you with the best person.
Great. Any last second questions on the line? Feel free to throw them in the chat.
Perfect. Well, we'll give a couple more seconds in case anyone's typing something out. But if not, we'll start wrapping this up and give everyone a little bit of their time back today. Like we mentioned, we will send this recording out. We should probably post this to our YouTube channel as well, which has a lot of great content on it. And then, like we mentioned, please feel free to reach out to ernesto.salinas@pipefy.com or joseph.hamm@pipefy.com. We'll make sure that we get your answers to your questions.
Thank you, everyone.